his English. On the surface, so please and thank you. But when it comes to beheading kings, since they got in long before the French, I'm excited about this Putney Debate story. These ordinary soldiers asking, what are we fighting for? Demanding their rights.
Well, I find it quite boring, actually. You're in London for exactly 1 week. Can't we do something more exciting than visit this old church?
Excuse me, don't you know that here, in this old church, a fire was lit that burned for 300 years, and in the end, it changed the political world, state, every country in every continent. That is quite exciting, don't you think so?
Oh, do me a favour. Politics is so 20th century. What does it matter? What does it change? To be honest, I'd rather go Camden Market.
You wouldn't think like that if you lived in a country where the Prime Minister just passed a law that the top politicians can no longer be prosecuted for any crime. Now we can kidnap or rape one of his own citizens and get away with it. 300 years ago, these people went to war to defend the principle that no one is above the law, not even the king. Now we have rotten Berlusconi declaring a war on his own people and putting troops on the street. It's exactly the kind of things this arrogant fop King Charles was up to.
Never mind, dear. Maybe I'll have another facelift and it'll all go horribly wrong. Besides, you Italians voted him in by a landslide, so you could argue the right to vote got you where you are today. I mean, we have the vote in England, but we can't stop Iraq, credit crunch, global warming, or anything really.
This agreement of the people, the soldiers' vote, is exactly about that. It's about the principle that everyone can vote. And even more important is that the government is always subject to the people rather than the other way around. Listen to this. This is a radical officer, Colonel Thomas Rainbow, speaking face to face to his generals. For truly, I believe the poorest he that is in England has a life to live as the greatest he.
And therefore, truly, sir, I think it is clear that any man that has to live under a government ought first agree to put himself under that government. I believe the poorest man in England is not at all bound to a government. He has not chosen to put himself under. And if any man doubt these truths, I wonder if he is an Englishman at all.
As our agreement of the people presented here states, the power of this and all future representatives of this nation is inferior only to the power of those who choose them.
Give me leave to tell you that if you make this claim, it cannot be based on any civil right, because no such right exists. You speak of birthright. Truly, there is much to claim by birthright. If a man is born in England, we should not refuse him the air to breathe, the ground to stand upon, freedom of the highways and other such things. But simply that a man is born here, it does not give him the right to share in the power to determine the law and to dispose of the lands. That I cannot allow. The people who choose the representatives by which this state is governed are those who, taken together, comprehend the real interests in this kingdom. They are the people in whom all land is vested and those in corporations by whom all trading is carried out.
I hear nothing at all to convince me why any man born in England ought not have his voice in elections. It is said that if a man have not permanent interest, he can have no claim, and that we must be no freer than existing laws allow us to be. But surely the main cause why Almighty God gave men reason was that they should make use of it. And all men have this gift of reason, even if they own no other property and no one can take that away from them. Either it must be the law of God or the law of man that prohibits the meanest man in the kingdom from having the same voice as the greatest. I do not find anything in the law of God that says A lord must have 20 representatives, a gentleman 2, and a poor man none at all. Therefore, we must look at this law of man, and here I agree that all Englishmen must be subject to English law. But the foundation of all law lies in the people, and it is the people that seek this change.
I think then that you must deny all property too, because if you say one man has an equal right with another to choose him that shall govern him, then he also has an equal right in any goods he sees, meat, drink, clothes, to take them and use them for himself. What is to prevent poor men, having say in Parliament, of transferring all property to other poor men or to themselves?
Does the preservation of property mean that I must accept that because I am a poor man I must be oppressed? Or because I have no stake in the kingdom I must suffer by laws made by others, be they right or wrong? When the recruiting officers go about, I notice that none of these gentlemen are pressed into the army. Yet when they fall out among themselves, it is the poor scrubs who are called to come and kill one another for them.
I will tell you what the soldier has fought for. The danger that we were in was that one man and one man alone thought that he could transcend all laws, and the people wanted the government that they elected to represent them, not to be at the will of one man, and that man a tyrant king.
When the people have no voice in the choosing of their governors, their civil fathers and mothers, they are not bound by that commandment. I would fain know what the soldier has been fighting for all this while. Was it to make himself a perpetual slave and give all power to men of riches and estates?